Hey, it's one IT pro writer versus the entire Microsoft developer community. I'm your host, Tim L. Hodge. Today, we're going to go over the manual configuration of SharePoint Server 2010 for Team Foundation Server 2010. Takes about 2 or 3 hours, but we're going to get it done much quicker than that. Okay, we're starting out here. We've got SharePoint installed. We've got the central administration site set up. We've got a web application that uses port 80 set up for TFS. And with that, we can get started. Go to the wizard screen over here and click Launch the Farm Configuration Wizards, and then click Start the Wizards. The first thing we want to do is deal with a service account. Now you can create a new managed account, or you can do what I'm going to do is I'm going to use TFS reports. That's the TFS report reader account. During SharePoint installation, I set it up as the farm admin identity. I'm going to use it both for the farm admin identity and to run these service accounts, and we're going to use it as the TFS report reader accounts. We're going to use one account for 3 different roles, and you don't have to do that. You can create new accounts for everything if your security policy requires that. There's only one place where you absolutely have to use TFS reports during the manual configuration of SharePoint 2010, and I'm going to show you where that is during the configuration so you don't get confused. For now, let's just make sure that Excel Services application is selected and the Secure Store services selected, and then click Next. You'll notice that there are a few other services selected there. They're the ones that are selected by default, and you can go ahead and leave those selected. We're going to jump ahead here. It takes a while to configure. We're going to skip where you put in the title and description. You can put those in if you want to. I never do. And we're pretty much done here. This is going to take us up to a success screen. It'll show us all the services that they've set up, and then we're going to click finish. Next thing we want to do is configure Excel services. So we want to go to Manage Service Applications, and on the next screen, scroll down until you get to Excel Service Application. Click on that, and they've got click to Trusted File Locations. There's a default Trusted File Location that's already set up. We're just going to edit that. So click on Address, and we're going to we are using our web application is the default, the port 80. So we're just going to add the address for the server into there, and we're going to make sure that Microsoft SharePoint Foundation is selected for location type, and that Children Trusted is selected in under Trust Children. In the external data section, we're going to get down here to the external data section. And you want to make sure that under Allow External Data, you got Trusted Data Connection Libraries embedded, and that's what you need. That's the default setting. You also want to take off the refresh warning enabled, unless you want that. Your customers will all be getting a warning every time they refresh the page. And you want to change maximum concurrent queries per session from 5 to 20. And then that's it. Excel Services is set up. Okay, so next up we want to configure the Secure Store service, and we're going to go back to the Central Administration page, go to Manage, and then down here to Secure Store Service. Secure Store Service is optional, but you probably want this, especially if you want to use reporting. You set this up so that you don't have to give everyone who wants to create reports credentials on the report server, or if your SharePoint is on a separate server from Team Foundation server and you have to solve the double hop authentication issue with NTLM authentication. Secure Store Service is the replacement for single sign-on service from MOS 2007, and it's basically the same thing, but some of the terminology has changed. So to configure the Secure Store service, you have to create what's called a target application for the Secure Store, And in MOS 2007, the target application was called an enterprise application definition. So if you've heard those names bandied about, then it's all basically the same thing I'm going to show you right now. Okay, we want to create a new secure store target application. If you've never done it before, the first thing you have to do is generate a key. Click Generate New Key. Type in a passphrase, confirm the passphrase, and then click OK. That will generate a key, and then you can click New to create a target application. Okay, in Target Application ID and Display Name, type TFS. You don't have to use TFS for Target Application ID or Display Name, but whatever you use here, take note of it because you will need it later on to configure Team Foundation Server. So in Contact Email, put the email address of the person or group to whom you want email messages about the application to be sent. I'm just going to put mine in there. In the target application type list, click Group, click None for the target application page URL, and then click Next. Okay, on this screen, just click Next. These are just the user fields, the credential fields that you're going to use to specify the credentials for your secure store target app. You just need a username and a Windows password. Okay, on this next screen, the first thing we're going to do is set up an administrative account for target application administrators. Now I'm going to use TFS reports one more time, another identity. You certainly don't have to do that if your security policy requires separate accounts, or if you just want to use these separate accounts, then you can certainly do that. Okay, now in members, type the global security group from the domain that contains all the users to whom you want to grant access to dashboards and reports in Team Foundation Server. And then just click OK. We've created our first target application for Team Foundation Server, and now we're going to select it and set the credentials on it by clicking Set Credentials. A couple of things I want to point out. This is our target application ID. It's named TFS. We're going to need that later on when we set up Team Foundation Server. The credential owners, those are the security group that we added that contains all the users for Team Foundation Server that are used reporting or the dashboards. And now here, the username and the password boxes, these are the credential fields that we set up earlier. Here, what we want to set in here is TFS reports. Now, we've been using TFS reports all over the place, but here we absolutely have to use that. That's what we're. This is not an option. You have to put the TFS reports account in here. And if you remember, that's got to be a domain user account that has allow log on locally permissions. You put that. So you just add that in there. Add the password. Confirm the password, and then you click OK, and then that's it. We're all set up. We just have to install Team Foundation Server, and I'm going to walk you through that. There's a couple of options. Okay, we're going to launch the Team Foundation Server 2010 installer. We're not going to go through the whole install, but there are a few things that I want to point out to you, and there's one very important step when you're configuring MOS 2010 at the very end that you need to do to get it all to work. So just click Next, click the all you need here is Team Foundation Server. You don't have to worry about the extensions. It installs those for you as long as you're installing it on the same server as the SharePoint server, which we are. And if you do that, if you have to use the advanced option, start the advanced wizard, click through. When that comes up, I'm just going to accept all of the default options. It's asking me for the report reader account, so I'm going to put TFS reports in here one more time. And if you remember, that's it's got to be a domain account. It needs allow log on locally permissions. So we're going to do that, and then once we set that up, all we have to do is point it to the SharePoint server that we're going to use, our MOS server that we just set up. and it should select it automatically since it's on the same server. It sees that, and we should be good to go. Take all the default options. This is what I've done, and we get to the end. We get to our success screen. We close that down, and in a minute here, it's going to launch the Team Foundation Server Administration console. And you want to go to the extensions for SharePoint products. The next thing you want to do is select the SharePoint web application that we created, and then click Modify Access. And then here where it says Enterprise Application Definition, put in TFS. That's our Target Application ID. And then click OK, and it's all set up. You're done. Tim El Haj, One IT Pro Writer. If you're finding these videos helpful, let me know, and we'll get some more up there for you. Thank you.